What's up, guys? Caleb Bakes01 back again for another random horror review. For today's review, definitely a more well-known film for you guys, especially if you are die-hard through and through horror fans. I know you guys would have seen this tons of times. A classic from the year 1981 being director Joe Dante's The Howling. As I said, this probably doesn't really need an introduction, especially for, as I said, the die-hard horror fans. You guys would have seen it countless of times. I've seen this film plenty of times. I actually own this film in another edition that I had before this one on my shelf. But I picked up this edition, the other day. It's Studiocanals classic remastered line. If you're familiar with my channel and seen a few of my other videos, you guys will probably know that I like to collect this line because the movies look fucking crisp, and this was no exception. Just to give Studio Canal a quick pat on the back, it did look great. But yeah, I wanted to rewatch this, so chucked it on the other night. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, this is probably the most I've enjoyed this movie. But we'll quickly get into the plot for those who maybe aren't so familiar with the movie, or, whatever, and maybe you need a refresher. So basically our lead is played by Dee Wallace. She is a news anchor slash reporter. And at the start of the film, she has a run-in with a serial killer, and the whole ordeal is very bizarre. The serial killer is a very quirky character. There's something mysterious going on with him, and obviously that experience with him leaves her traumatized and, just feeling out of it. So she's sent off to a retreat, where at the retreat, not everything there is as it seems, and obviously the people there as well are... there's something going on, and obviously if you can just tell by the title where it's sort of going with this being a werewolf film, probably one of the more well-known werewolf movies, definitely up there with American Werewolf in London, popularity-wise, I would say. This is definitely a beloved film of the subgenre, but yeah, we'll get into my thoughts now. I just want to quickly also say, guys, sorry for my voice, I am a little bit sick at the moment, so this is a bit of a mission to get through myself too, but I was looking forward to this review, so let's get into it now. So I just wanted to quickly explain, I said sort of there in the intro that this was the most enjoyment that I've ever got from this movie, and I just want to explain, I've never not liked this movie. I've just always thought it was good and, above average, but nothing to fucking write home about. But definitely this time around, something clicked a little bit more, and had a lot of fun with this one. What I really like about this movie, first of all, is the setting, this coastal woodland retreat that majority of the movie takes place in. I just thought that was such a cool setting, and I really like the vibe that's going on there, and the movie bounces back between that and the city, and both settings just really super cool. One of my favourite elements to this movie is this sort of conspiracy slash mystery thing that's going on, because you're trying to figure out... obviously, as I said, just by the title, you can probably figure out what's going on if you're unfamiliar with the movie, but, you're trying to figure out, how the people there are tied in with what's going on at the retreat, and how, as I said, the serial killer at the start of the movie, what he's got to do with the retreat and what's going on there. This really cool conspiracy feeling is, I would say in majority of this film, it sort of dies off, halfway through. But at the first half of this movie, the conspiracy and mystery elements are really fucking strong. And I wouldn't say it's not there in the second half. I'd just say it becomes very sparse and, definitely steps down a bit. I'd say the characters that you follow being the reporter friends, I forget the characters' names, but friends of Dee Wallace's character, they work with her. They definitely hold the conspiracy slash mystery element throughout the film a lot better, but yeah, that's definitely one of my favourite elements and aspects to this movie, but where it dies off in mystery and conspiracy, it picks up once the werewolves are introduced into this movie. The werewolves are really fucking creepy, really cool looking. The effects are fucking outstanding. I really like the way that the werewolves look in this movie, and I wouldn't say like the transformations are up there with as I said earlier, American Werewolf in London. I think that's the best werewolf transformation we'll ever see in cinema. honestly, but these ones are really fucking good too, if I'm being honest. And as I said, just the effects and the werewolves themselves, they're sort of more so introduced halfway into the movie and onwards. And as I said, even though I feel it loses a bit of steam with the lack of conspiracy and mystery towards the end, it picks up and the werewolves really take the reins for the rest of it. I just want to quickly sort of go into another sort of negative or something that was annoying me in this movie, and it's annoyed me in the past too, with this one. I just feel like there's a lot of things going on with characters where I feel like they should be communicating what's going on with other people, but they're not. And I get that, you know, a lot of the stuff in this movie, if you were put in that situation, you'd be fucking terrified and confused and questioning your own sanity, but like, it just sort of bugs me in this one that they're not telling anybody. Some of my examples are Dee Wallace, when she has the attack with the serial killer at the start of the movie. She says that she doesn't remember things, but she's having flashbacks, and she sort of does remember very important things that I would be telling people, but she doesn't want to sort of pass it off, and I don't know if it's just the way that her character's written or the dialogue, but it just seems like she doesn't want to tell anybody, but it's definitely stuff I would be passing on. Another example of this is, as I said, the two reporter friends. You know, they're sort of unraveling the mystery, and they're sort of coming to the point where they're hitting the nail on the head. You know, they're starting to figure out something supernatural involving werewolves and all that could be going on, and again, they're not really telling anybody. They're just sort of keeping it to themselves, and I've always thought that was just something weird in this movie, and it's always stuck with me, and I've always sort of found it a bit annoying, if I'm being honest. And you know, I wouldn't say it completely hurts the movie, but it does stick out whenever I watch this one. So that for me is a little bit of a negative. But I wanted to finish this review on a high, because my favourite part of this movie, without a doubt, is probably the last 20-25 minutes. The whole final showdown at the retreat, you know, getting away from the werewolves and, you know, them following the car and doing all they can to stop them from getting away, I think is so cool. I love that part. But then I think probably the most iconic moment from this movie, super fucking crazy, super quirky. It's way out of left field, and the scene at the end is so bizarre, and I remember it kind of scaring me before I ever saw this movie. I just saw that scene somewhere, and it fucking traumatized me. Yeah, if you don't know, or you've seen the movie, but, you know, you just need a refresher, the part on the television where she's doing the news report right at the end, that scene, I fucking love it. As I said, it's just so quirky, and it's like this light-hearted yet disturbing scene. It fucking stays with you. But it's so cool. I really love that ending. It's so unsettling but awesome at the same time. And that's where I think I'll sort of leave this review today. As I said, it's definitely one that I feel like majority of yous would have seen before, but, you know, maybe if you haven't seen it in a while or somehow haven't, I definitely would recommend checking out The Howling. So let's get over to my rating of it now. As I said, the most enjoyment I've had with this movie throughout my time of seeing it. As I said, with this Studiocanals release, it probably helps that it looks so fucking good, but definitely connected with the story a lot more, and the most fun I've had with it. With all that being said, I think this still is I'd say a lower than average rating for majority of the people's opinions on this movie, but I'm going to give it a 7.5. I definitely see this one going higher. I'm just happy that I did connect with this one more this time around, and I definitely would recommend it. Definitely a high point for the werewolf subgenre, and yeah, as I said, if you haven't seen The Howling, check it out. It is super awesome. Alright, so thank you guys for joining me for today's random horror review. As I said, this one was a bit of a tricky one for me. As I said, I feel a bit sick, got a sore throat, and I just wanted to have content out there. I know I could have just sort of kicked my feet up and rested for a bit, but I wanted to put out another video, so that's alright, and hopefully by the next one I'm feeling a bit better. But thank you guys for joining me again. Feel free to leave your thoughts on the film below, or just whatever you want. If you just feel like a chat about movies or whatever, feel free. Like and subscribe, guys, and I appreciate everyone who's coming back and watching my content. Peace.